everyone, my name is Edie O'Neill and this is my son Alexander O'Neill. He's going to be helping me complete this video activity for SPED 6766 and we'll just go ahead and begin. So how are you doing today, Alex?
Good.
I'm glad you're doing very good. We've been working on doing what for the last few days?
Reading a book.
We've been reading a book. Very good. Can you remember the title of the book we've been reading?
Yes.
What is the title of the book?
Alexander the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day.
Good job! Good job! You've been paying attention. Have you been enjoying reading the book?
Yes.
I'm glad. Have you found some interesting things about what's going on in the book funny?
Mm-hmm.
You have. Good job. Good job. Well, today what we're going to talk about is identifying the main idea. Now, the main idea of a story is the big idea that the author wants the readers to know all about. And sometimes identifying the main idea can be challenging. It can be hard because there's so many things happening in the story that's interesting to us. It's kind of hard to figure out exactly what the author wants us to take away from the story as being the main idea. And what I want to help you do is understand some strategies you can use to figure out what the main idea, to put all those interesting things about a story into perspective. And perspective means to understand what's just to make us laugh and be funny and what really the author wants us to understand. And that is what the main idea, what the author really wants us to see the big idea for the main idea is about. Now, I will be reading some of the book again to help us do this activity. I want you to pay attention because after a couple times, I want you to be able to do some of these strategies yourself. And in the end, you should be able to tell me what type of thinking you did to figure out the main idea, how you use those clues to help your thinking to figure out what the big picture that the author wants us to see when they write a book. I do have one question for you. What does an author do?
An author writes the book.
An author writes the book. I know I've kind of given it away, huh? Well, what does an illustrator do?
An illustrator draws the pictures.
Draws the pictures. Great. And how can those pictures help us in a book?
They can give us more information about the book.
About the story. They certainly can. They also kind of make the story interesting, don't they? Good, good, good. So glad you've been paying such great attention. So let's go ahead and get started to see what we can figure out about some of these strategies to help you figure out better how to identify clues in a story. So what I'm going to do is read the first page because lots of times, sit up for me dear, lots of times authors will give us clues at the very beginning of a story. Sometimes those clues are just words, sometimes they're whole phrases that we can use to figure out the main idea. We're going to be using this worksheet here to help us figure that out. Now, you've already given me the title of the story, because sometimes that can be a clue. Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day. So what we want to do is find out the big idea. Now, I'm going to read the first page, like I said, to get us started. I went to sleep with gum in my mouth, and now there's gum in my hair. And I got out of bed this morning and I tripped on the skateboard and by mistake I dropped my sweater in the sink while the water was running, and I could tell it was going to be a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. Oh, look at that. Look at that grumpy face the illustrator has drawn. So my thinking tells me to look at the illustration. We've already identified early this week that the main character is who?
Alexander.
Alexander. I love that name. Well, Alexander's face is really grumpy, but some of the words I see, he tells us, I went to sleep with gum in my mouth, so he really wasn't thinking about that. And now, this is a new morning, there's gum in my hair. That's a clue to me. Gum in your hair? That's not very good. He got out of bed and then he tripped. So he wakes up, gum in his hair, and now he trips. Then by mistake, so it was an accident, He dropped his sweater in the sink while the water was running. So now he has a wet shirt, gum in his hair, and probably a hurt foot or ankle because he tripped on that skateboard. So he's in a grumpy mood altogether. Then he tells us that he thinks, I could tell, it's going to be a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. So I got several clues here. I got that there's gum in his hair. I got he tripped, and that he dropped his sweater, and dropping that sweater meant now that it's wet. And then plus, that grumpy face the illustrator has written. So I have some clues here that I can jot down. Those clues we can also refer to as cues. A cue kind of tells you what to do next. So this cue tells me to think about all these types of things. Well, all these types of things are negative, bad, not happy types of situations. So I think that the author wants me to understand that the big idea is that Alexander thinks he's going to have a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. All that said, he's going to have a bad day because all those negative things are happening. That's the big idea to me. So what I want to do now is read one with you. I want to read a page 2 with you so we can come up with the main idea together. In the carpool, Miss Gibson let Becky have a seat by the window. Audrey and Elliot got seats by the window too. I said I was being crunched. I said I was being smushed. I said if I don't get a seat by the window, I'm going to be car sick. No one even answered. I could tell it was going to be a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. So what are you thinking right here? What do you think the big idea the author's trying to get us to see from reading this?
That it's going to be a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day.
Okay, and what clues do you see help you figure that out? What's your brain thinking when you see the pages?
Because everybody else got a seat by the window, and he said if he didn't get a seat by the window, that he was going to be car sick.
That's right. You see that in the illustration, right? And what does he look like there?
He's crunched and smushed. He's crunching the smush.
So you used the pictures. So you used the pictures, and you also saw the words said that everyone got a seat. And he could tell it was going to be a bad day. What else do you see here? Let's name some things. He was squished, he was crunched, everybody got a seat, and what else?
He was car sick.
He was going to be car sick. So all those things relate to what?
A terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day.
Then he said it again. Exactly right. Now what I want you to do, Alex, is you're going to, I'll read it aloud for you, but then I want you all by yourself to answer some questions for me so you can figure out that big picture. At school, Miss Dickens liked Paul's picture of the sailboat better than my picture of an invisible castle. At singing time, she said I sang too loud. At counting time, she said I left out 16. Who needs 16? I could tell it was going to be a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. So what do you see here?
That Miss Dickens liked Paul's picture better of the invisible sailboat. But she liked it better because there was no picture.
There was no picture. So you heard, you listened, and you recognized some of these things that didn't seem like what type of things? They weren't what?
Good.
They weren't good things. Just like the other two examples we've gone over, not good. You said that she liked Paul's picture better than his. That's not good. And you did say there wasn't anything on that paper, right? That's not good. What else do you see that's not good? These are great things in it.
He left out at singing time, he sang too loud.
Too loud.
At counting time, he left out 16, and you have to know all your numbers.
So that's not good either.
16, you won't know it's 16.
That's really good. And so this leads us to figure out what's the big idea, what's the main idea here.
Teacher said we gotta be
A terrible, no good, horrible, very bad day. You're right. So putting yourself in the author's seat to say, what do I want my readers to figure out? You've used those clues. I think you did a great job. You did a great job using the events you saw took place. You did a great job thinking. So what we're going to do now is we're going to close this activity, and I'm just going to see what we could do tomorrow just to help you out better to think about these strategies. So we remember the main character is Alexander, and all in all, the big idea is what? That Alexander thinks he's not gonna
have a good day.
He's not gonna have a good day because he's gonna have what type of day?
Terrible, horrible, no,
good,
very bad day.
Because of all those things. Well, great job, Alex. I appreciate you helping me out with this lesson, and thank you guys for watching.